Welcome to Inside Your County Government. I'm your host and community engagement coordinator, Doria Fleischer. We are here with another episode of Let's Get Fiscal, a chance to talk about things related to everything fiscal and administrative services here in Charles County Government. We're here with Jake Dyer, who has been with Fiscal and Admin Services. I know I shouldn't keep bringing this up, but how many years, Jake?
Oh, geez. It's getting tougher to bring up, but okay. I've been here since 2002. So I've been here 21 years now.
21 years. Yes. That's a long time to be doing money stuff in county government.
Yeah, I like to joke around and say I started here in an internship in middle school and so forth, but that joke's starting to get old a little bit.
Because even that still makes you old at this point, right? Like it's either way, you're going to be old.
Yes, but yes, I've been here since 2002, and I've started out I've always been in the budget area, and so I know a lot about county government and so forth. So that's why I think it's good to have me here, because I can bring up a lot of hopefully good information for what our citizens or residents or listeners are trying to
I agree.
know
and
about.
I think it's good to have you here because I always feel like if you can explain it in a way that makes sense to me, then you've explained it well, because I don't know, sometimes I think about your job and my brain starts to get, that is not something I want to think about all day, is all of that money and all of those numbers. So thank you for doing that.
You're welcome.
All right. So Jake, it is September.
Yes.
And we survived the big budget season and the budget public hearing and all of that. What's been going on with you guys since then?
So I'm glad you asked. So since May, when the budget got adopted, for the next 90 days after that, the budget division starts focusing on production of what we call the budget book. It's a book that gets produced by the budget division that really explains everything that got approved in the budget, as well as many other things. And then on the 90th day, since the budget gets adopted, we post that book on our FAS webpage for everyone to see or can have access to and learn about the budget.
It sounds like such a religious moment. Like we pass the budget and then we make the book. And on the 90th day, the book is presented to the people, right?
Yes. And it's...
Why is such a tradition? Like, why is that a thing?
So the 90th day thing is really so we can get a award from this organization called GFOA, which is Government Finance Officers Association.
Okay.
We have to have the book out by 90 days for us to receive the ability to get an award. And I would say for all the years I've been here, since 2002, and actually before that, we've actually received a Distinguished Budget Book Award on the document. So we send it to this organization called GFOA. They have people review the book and they say, Charles County, you pass.
And I would assume that they're looking at, are we doing a good job of keeping good records? Are we fiscally responsible? Are we doing what we say we're going to do? Is that inaccurate?
Yes, but they're also checking to make sure we're explaining what's in the budget for the citizens to understand.
Gotcha.
It.
So there is from my community engagement perspective, I love that somebody's looking and saying, like, you guys better do a good job explaining what you're doing. Yeah.
Yes.
Beautiful.
Yes.
Okay. So you showed me the book before we started recording, and I'm not going to lie to you, my eyes kind of glazed over, and I was like, oh, that looks heavy. Tell us about this book. So
it is a pretty heavy book, as you said. It's typically about 500 to 600 pages of information. For the ones that are like to access this book, don't be alarmed, because we actually have another document on our website called the Budget in Brief, which is a much briefer version of this 600 page
I like
book.
the idea of that Cliff Notes version for me.
Yes.
I think I'm going to look at the Cliff Notes version.
Yes, there's a Cliff Note version of it that's probably about 20-ish pages.
That's way more my style.
Yes.
Good. Okay.
And that actually, we produced that Budget in Brief pages immediately after the budget gets adopted. It didn't. After that, we started working on the much comprehensive book.
Okay.
For ones that are at home and not sure exactly what it is, it's kind of like the yearbook. You know, when you're in high school, you get the yearbook to explain to see all the pictures of what happened in the last year. This is really the yearbook to talk about what's coming up in the budget, because the budget gets adopted in May, the fiscal year starts in July, and then the budget book explains what's going to be happening over the next 12 months. Among other things, as I mentioned, within that book, it goes through a series of timeline and order. So at the beginning of the book is it's a message from our county administrator to do a much high level explanation of what's in the budget, of what, funding that was provided to the school system, funding that was provided to the sheriff's office and so forth, how much money is going into capital projects and all that. And then once we get beyond the letter, then we provide all the policies that the county has, fiscally policies, to show that, we're trying to, we have policies on behind the numbers. once we get beyond the policies and so forth, we actually provide some information on by fund on where the dollars are going, looking at, and we actually even tie, if you wanted to see what the county spent the previous year, you can go to the budget book and see how much we spend on public safety and that and so forth.
And compare. Okay.
And compare. Once we get beyond that, it goes to an economic and statistical information. So there's a lot of statistics in there that explains, if you ever want to see who our largest taxpayers are, you can go there. You want to see who the largest employers of Charles County within the county, the number of the largest employers and so forth. One thing that I find interesting out of that economic statistics that I actually go to mostly because there's information on county parks and recreation activities. So me as a parent, if I'm looking, my kids are like, there's nothing to do here in Charles. I go to the book and like, well, today, why don't we go check out Purse Park in Nanjemoy? We can go check out the Shark Teeth.
So that's the much more interesting part, right? Where we get to like, what does Charles County really look like as a money place? Where do people put their money? Who are we spending money on? That to me sounds more interesting than just the numbers. Okay. Yeah.
But once we get all that fun stuff that you might, then we get into the numbers. So, within the numbers is the very next section is our general fund. The general fund, as I explained previously, is our largest fund in Charles County. And then within that section, it talks about where the money goes for the general fund. So there's a page in the budget book dedicated to the monies that we provide the school system. Now, when you look at this page, it only provides our share, what we provide the school system. The school system gets funding from other resources. It goes to the Charles County Board of Education. So anyone who wanted to see the total package
would have to go directly to the Board of Education.
Correct.
But this is what Charles County government has given out.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah. Awarded.
And then there's also pages dedicated to the sheriff's office. There's pages dedicated to county parks, departments, and agencies.
Okay.
Within each page, you'll see the dollars that are provided to each organization or department. It shows you some history behind those numbers, but it also provides a section for changes in useful information. That's really to explain the changes that happen in the budget. So if a department or agency got new positions, it will have a bullet or two explaining that. Or it might explain why one department saw a increase in their operating costs. We try to explain why they got additional dollars.
So that would be another, if I wanted just kind of a quick glance at what do I need to know that's different this year.
Yes.
That's where I could look.
Yeah, if you want to know what happened and different in the Parks Division, you could find the Parks Division page in that section. You could see why their budget changed.
Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah. Well, also on each page, there's always a description to explain what that department or division agency does. And then we have a listing of positions. So if you wanted to see how many EMTs are in the EMS division, you can go to that page and see the number of FTEs. Same thing at the media division. You want to see how many Doria Fleshers are out there? You can go to the media division.
We're hoping just one, right?
There's one.
We really only need one in the world.
Then once we get beyond the general fund, which is probably the bigger part of that book, then we go into our enterprise funds. That's your water and sewer enterprise funds. These are all funds that we set fees to cover the cost. We set the fees to 100% cover the cost. We don't set these fees to create monies like we're a business. This is what we had to create.
The fee for service, right? I'm going to take my trash somewhere and I'm going to pay this to dump it at the landfill.
Yes.
And that's what it's going to cost to dump it at the landfill.
So if you wanted to know information about those enterprise funds, there's a section on that. Then after we get beyond those two sections, then we have what we call special revenue funds. Special revenue funds, what we call is the funds that have a defined purpose. So that's your state grants, your federal grants, as well as anything that's legally tied for a specific purpose. So for example, in that section, we actually show a page what we provide that the Fire and Rescue Board gets to provide funding for the volunteers. So for those at home that don't know, we have a volunteer system that provides 100% fire services to volunteers, to citizens, and as well as there is volunteer funds that go to paramedics and EMTs. That's kind of like a hybrid system. We have paid. We have a paid section. That if you want to know how much was going to the paid piece, that would be under the emergency services budget. But the volunteers, there's a page for that.
So most people wouldn't want to dive into this 500-page book in its entirety.
No.
But if there was an area that really interested you or an area that you wanted to know more about, or why I see a lot on social media, why did my fees go up for, whether it's the landfill, whether it's my water sewer, this would be a great place to dive into just that section.
Of course.
And
Correct.
it's all available on the website.
Yes, it's under the budget webpage. We have it out there. We have a link, and you can go to and thankfully, for someone who just wants to know the water and sewer section, there's a table of contents at the beginning of it. And you should be able to click on a link. So if you see the water and sewer page, you should be able to just click on it. It should take you right there.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
If there was one thing you wanted our community to know about the budget book, what would you want them to know? If they remember one thing from hearing you talk?
The one thing that I would probably want them to know about the budget book, it's a comprehensive book to really show the community what the blueprint is for Charles County, what we're trying to do over the next year.
Okay.
It just provides information. So where your tax dollars or your fees or they are going to, this is what we're striving to spend those funds on.
Gotcha. And I love the level of transparency, because I think while 500 pages sounds atrocious, it also is available. And if you do feel frustrated, if you do feel confused, if you do feel lost, if you do feel like I don't understand why this money's going here, we're saying, look, we're going to tell you this is not a secret. We want you to know where money is going. Is that an accurate statement?
Correct. And if a citizen wanted to know what happened in fiscal year 22 or 23, there is a archive section on our budget page. You click on the archives, you can go and then look to see what was in the 22 budget book for anyone that wanted to know what happened then.
What happened in that time.
Yeah.
I'm laughing because I'm picturing how different a budget book, if they even existed 20, 30, 40 years ago, what that would have looked like, because Charles County is so different now than it was then.
Yeah. So when we started the budget book, when I started, it was definitely a lot smaller than it is now, just because we've grown our capital. We have within that book, near the end of it, we do have capital projects. So we have pages dedicated to funding that's supposed to get, that was receiving money in this coming, but as well as showing a plan for it for future years. So you could see, like, if this project that you're interested in might have only gotten $1 million in fiscal year 24, but you should be able to see the schedule of what those funds are supposed to get
where it's going to lead to. Okay.
Right. So if you're interested about a school and you want to see, like, why did for the elementary school that's being built on Billings Road, you could see a progression of where those additional funds that project would do to complete it.
Perfect.
So, yeah.
Sounds good. Jake, thank you for the budget book overview. I'm glad you did not take it out and read it to us. I'm glad that you did not tell me I had to read it before this interview, but I solemnly swear I will go online. I will at least look at that Cliff Notes version. That sounded really nice. I love the way that sounded, and make sure that I'm an expert on all things budget related for this fiscal year.
Cool. So,
Jake, thanks for being here today. Jake Dyer from our Fiscal and Admin Services, telling us about all things fiscal related in Charles County.
Thank you.
Thanks so much for tuning in. Remember, Jake talked about a lot of things that if you had questions about, we've already had some episodes, like the enterprise fund and what the budget looks like and when that happens. So go back to our other episodes. You can also look forward to future episodes where we continue to talk about all things fiscal related in Charles County government. Thanks so much. Take care. Stay safe. Stay engaged. For more information on Charles County government, visit our website, www.charlescountymd.gov. You can follow us on Facebook and Twitter, and subscribe to the county's e-news. Also, don't forget to sign up for our text and email alerts through the Citizen Notification System. You can watch CCG TV on Comcast Channel 95 or Verizon Fios 10, and we're streaming on Apple TV and Roku devices. Just search Charles County Government. You can also subscribe to our podcast wherever you get your podcasts by searching Charles County Government. And don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel,